morning. So this is going to be another virtual field trip that we want you guys to take with me, and we're going to be going on a little bit off the beaten track this morning. We're going to be going up an alpine trail, and we're going to search for some native pollinators. So we've been talking about different types of pollinators. We've gone through honeybees and gone to the honeybee farm to see what they do. And now we want to see what Colorado pollinators look like out in the wild. How are they different from other types of pollinators? And what does it look like just to be in our own neck of the woods? So we are actually on the Continental Divide heading up, and we are right across from Wolf Creek Pass. So this is an area that you could go and hike with your family and kind of see what we're talking about here today. So we're going to keep going in just a little bit. So come on. So we're out here with an outdoor educator, a professional outdoorsman. Would you please introduce yourself to those watching this virtual field trip and tell them a little bit about what you do and who you work with?
Yeah, my name's Kurt Howell. I'm a senior lecturer at Adams State University, and I'm an outdoor educator and have been for nearly 20 years. And so I am out here in the field quite a bit with students, and we do lots of different activities, and we learn a little bit about ecology, we learn a little bit about outdoor recreation, and teach a little bit about leadership and also how to be an educator.
So we're in a what's considered a high alpine environment. How high are we?
Well, right now we are almost on the Continental Divide, actually. It's just right over there. And we are approximately about 10,800 feet.
So that's quite a bit higher than, say, the floor of the valley, which is about 7,500.
Right. And as you notice, right, the vegetation up here looks a little bit different than it does down in the San Luis Valley.
What's the difference in the plants that grow up here, especially since we're still pretty early in the growing season? And we can see down here that we've got some of these little yellow flowers interspersed with a bunch of rocks. So what's significant about having these little small flowers come out first?
Well, right now it's early June, and so as the snow is receding, we can't see any right here, but just a little bit over there, there's still some snow visible, but the ground is starting to thaw out. And down in the valley, the ground is thawed out several weeks ago, really a couple months ago, the ground started to thaw out. Up here, even last night, the ground was still pretty firm, and it stays that way a lot longer up in this environment. It stays a lot colder and a lot harder. And so one of the things that we're seeing here is we've got a lot of short grasses that are growing. We have some bushes, some subalpine trees, and in this environment, it's hard for me to breathe up here walking up to this high of elevation. We say that the air is thinner, and the reality is, we just have less air pressure up here for us to really take in a lot of volume of oxygen as human beings. But as it's hard for us to be up here, it's also hard for plants. It's a little bit harder environment to live in. And so things don't grow quite as big, for example. Like these are little flowers. We have little bushes, we have our trees. Notice trees are not very tall. It's just a little bit harder environment for them to grow in. Our soil here is good soil, but you notice it's got interspersed with a lot of rocks. And these flowers, for example, have opened up, and they provide food, a food source for our pollinators. We have a lot of these bushes that has yet to leaf out right here. They're starting to leaf out in certain areas, but these flowers do provide a food source for those little bugs and creatures that need it and have already woken up and are now out foraging and looking for food.
We've made it pretty far up the trail at this point. We've been hiking for about a mile, and as you can see, we are pretty high up. There are a ton of mountains around us that still have some snow left on top, but I wanted to stop here to show you guys this habitat area right up here, because we're getting some flowering bushes that are really excellent pollinator habitat. So if I'm a butterfly or a moth or a bee or even a hummingbird or a flying wasp, I'm going to want to be in this kind of area where I can find some shelter if it starts to rain, which happens quite a bit in the mountains in the summer. And then to be able to access these blossoms that are about to come out onto these bushes. There's still quite a bit of snow up here, even where the bushes are. You can see over here that there's still a little bit of a snow field. So if I'm a pollinator, I'm going to want to be able to get away from that when it starts to drop in temperature and go someplace a little bit higher up where the sun is hitting, like we are right here. Bumblebees are abundant in alpine areas because they carry more pollen, visit more flowers, and can fly long distances. They can also tolerate colder weather better than most insects. Alpine pollinators do well when snow is still in the mountains. Bees especially need cooler weather to keep flowers blooming on schedule. If snow melts too soon, it gets too warm for alpine plants to grow properly. Flies are the second most important pollinators after bumblebees and prefer white, unspecialized flowers in habitats that don't work well for other pollinators. Well, we're almost back to the road. You might be able to hear some of the noises from the trucks going past. So this is the end of this virtual field trip. I hope you enjoyed getting to see a little bit of our environment that is way up high. And if you're interested in going on hikes or exploring this with your family, this is a perfect time. In a few months, we'll come back here and see maybe how some of the flowers have blossomed even more, see if we can find some more pollinators, and maybe if we're lucky, see if we can find some strawberries or blueberries so that we can snack a little on the way. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time.
To make Mixie Bombs, you'll need several sheets of colored paper, they can be scrap paper, and a sheet of newspaper. You'll also need flower seeds, a bowl, a strainer, and a cloth to catch the water. And then you'll need 2 cups of warm water. The first thing that you'll do is to shred your paper and newspaper into small little pieces and put them in your blender. Then you pour in your water, making sure it covers all the paper. Then let the mixture set for about 10 minutes so that the paper gets nice and soft. Then you are ready to blend. After you've blended the mixture, pour it through the strainer and cloth so that the extra water runs off. Then you can take your cloth and wring out the little bit of water that's still left. Now you have a paper pulp that you can add your seeds to make your seed bombs. I am adding about a tablespoon of seeds. You don't want to add too many because you want your seeds spread out enough that they aren't too clumped together when they start growing. And then once your seeds are thoroughly mixed, you can start rolling them into little seed bomb balls. And again, making sure that they're small enough so there's not too many seeds in each bomb. Then let those dry overnight before planting. You can plant your seed bombs anywhere that they'll get sun, just making sure that they're spaced about a foot apart. Then you can water them, and you'll need to water them a little bit more often until they start growing and are established.